Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 3 delivers an action-packed finale that wraps up several storylines, but sometimes feels more like fantasy than science fiction. Captain Christopher Pike and his Enterprise crew have encountered everything from monstrous Gorn to malfunctioning holodecks throughout Strange New Worlds' third season, and the finale gives everyone something to do. Directed by Maja Vervilo and written by Dana Horgan and Davy Perez, New Life and New Civilizations continues the story that began in Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 5, Through the Lens of Time, which introduced the Vesta and their mysterious prison. That episode hinted that the Vesta would return, and the finale keeps that promise, sending the Enterprise to a new planet called Skygoan. Dr. Roger Corby gets involved again. LT Sam Kirk has more lines than he's had all season, and the truth is finally revealed about Captain Marie Bitel's Gorn transformation. The episode packs a lot into its 55-minute runtime, and not all of it works, but New Life and New Civilizations has its moments, and it nicely tees up a fresh start for Season 4. I loved Through the Lens of Time, and its ending left me excited for the return of the Vesta. What were these mysterious creatures that terrified even Commander Pelia? Unfortunately, the Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 3 finale doesn't really answer that question in any concrete way. The episode begins with a party in Captain Pike's quarters as Captain Bitel prepares to take over as the director of Starfleet's JAG office. But when Dr. Mabenga, Nurse Chapel, and LT Scotty find pieces of Ensign Gamble's life form in the medical transporter buffer, the Enterprise traces the Vesta to Skygoan. The Vesta rebuilt Gamble's body and activated the Enterprise transporter from the inside, eventually making its way to Skygoan. This new planet looks amazing, with massive floating structures and a bustling marketplace full of diverse aliens. Some of the Skygoan's inhabitants have begun worshipping Gamble Vesta, and the Enterprise crew must prevent this Vesta from releasing the rest of his species from their prison on Vadia IX. Gamble's return was a fun surprise, but the ultimate fate of the Vesta was underwhelming considering the way the species had been built up in Episode 5. The most we get is that the Vesta are evil personified, but they don't actually do much throughout the episode, and Gamble Vesta is ultimately defeated fairly easily. I was on board with New Life and New Civilizations until the big reveal about Captain Bitel's transformation. It turns out that Bitel and the Beholder's statue on VEIX are one and the same. Thanks to interdimensional space and some weird stuff with time and causality, Bitel has always been the warden of the Vesta prison. Because Bitel is now comprised of DNA from various species who have supposedly beaten the Vesta, she's one of the only beings who can stop them. Though it gives Captain Pike pause, Bitel is remarkably accepting of her future as an eternal statue, saying that it's her destiny. When Bitel finally goes up against Gamble Vesta, the scene cuts to an alternate future just as Bitel is about to attack. We see Bitel and Pike experience an entire lifetime. They get a dog, celebrate anniversaries, have a daughter, and eventually grow old together. It's a lovely sequence that all happens in a matter of seconds as Bitel gathers the love she needs to fight the Vesta. It all feels too much like magic, which Pike acknowledges in the episode, and no technobabble explanation would make all of this make sense. It's nice to see Pike live a full and happy life where his tragic accident never happens, but an entire episode could have been devoted to that scenario alone, like Star Trek: The Next Generation's The Inner Light. That's part of the problem with this season finale. It feels like multiple episodes crammed into one. I've thought before that Strange New Worlds should get more than 10 episodes per season, and New Life and New Civilizations makes that even more apparent. The story jumps from one revelation to the next without giving the audience time to catch their breath. There's some good stuff here, but the whole thing feels overstuffed. And then there's the storyline with LT, Spock Ethan Peck, and LT, Commander James T, Kirk Paul Wesley. It's always great to see these two characters interact, But having the pair share a mind meld this early in their friendship fundamentally changes their relationship. By the time of Star Trek, the original series, Kirk and Spock have developed the kind of trust and respect for one another that only comes with years of working together and slowly becoming friends. The mind meld in the Strange New Worlds Season 3 finale feels like a cheap way to cement their bond without building it organically. The whole scenario comes about because the Enterprise and the Farragut need to fire their weapons at exactly the same time in order to have enough power to open a doorway on Skygoan. To do this, Spock and Kirk share a mind meld and then pilot their respective ships in complete synchronicity with one another. In the end, Kirk goes back to the Farragut, and Spock remains on the Enterprise as it prepares for another 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds. While New Life and New Civilizations delivers some great moments, it never quite coalesces into a unified whole. Overall, Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3 delivered some of the series' strongest episodes yet, but its finale unfortunately ends the season on a strange note. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has spent 3 seasons balancing high-concept sci-fi adventures with deeply human stories. It has thrived on a format that feels simultaneously classic and fresh, leaning into standalone adventures that spotlight individual crew members while also weaving threads of serialized storytelling. But with its Season 3 finale, the show may have taken one step too far into indulgence. Episode 10, while undeniably ambitious and visually stunning, crams in so many fantastical elements that its core message nearly gets lost beneath the spectacle. Yet, even amid the overstuffed narrative, there are brilliant character beats, moments of vulnerability, courage, and connection that remind us why Strange New Worlds has won so many fans. The finale is both frustrating and beautiful, too much and not enough, a puzzle of tone and intention that leaves you walking away conflicted. The episode opens with an ominous setup. The Enterprise, stranded on the edge of a nebula unlike any encountered before. Reports filter in of warped physics, dreamscapes merging with reality, and a sense that the crew is not just exploring space, but entering a collective subconscious. It's a daring conceit, pulling Star Trek into territory more often reserved for shows like Doctor Who or even fantasy epics like Game of Thrones. On paper, it's compelling. A finale where the boundaries of science and imagination blur, where the characters must confront their innermost fears and desires to escape. But in execution, the hour can't decide what kind of story it wants to tell. One moment, it's pure cosmic horror, with corridors twisting into impossible geometries. The next, it's whimsical fantasy, complete with shimmering landscapes and mythic archetypes. Then, with almost no warning, it pivots back into hard science technobabble as Spock tries to anchor reality through mathematics. The tonal whiplash is jarring. While Trek has always pushed genre boundaries, holodeck episodes, mirror universes, alternate timelines, this finale leans so heavily into surreal fantasy that it risks alienating fans who come for science fiction first. Despite the excess, the writers never lose sight of the crew. And it's here that the finale shines brightest. Each character is granted a moment of personal reckoning, forced to face something raw and human within the fantastical framework. Captain Pike confronts not just his well-worn fate, but the possibility that he has become too cautious, defined by dread rather than leadership. His vision of a future where he never takes risks serves as a powerful mirror, and Anson Mount plays it with quiet gravitas. Spock, tasked with anchoring reality, wrestles with the conflict between logic and emotion once more. His visions of Amanda and Sarek underline his fractured heritage, but this time, instead of denying one half of himself, he embraces both. Ethan Peck's performance is tender, giving Spock's arc a genuine note of catharsis. Una No. 1 faces her deep-seated fear of being an outsider, manifested as a tribunal of phantom judges reminding her of her genetic past. Instead of running, she argues her own case with fierce dignity, reclaiming her right to belong. Ortegas, long overdue for development, has one of the episode's highlights. A dream of flying a starship through impossible skies, free of duty, obligation, or restraint. It's exhilarating, but also bittersweet, as she realizes that true freedom means letting go of what she loves most. Lan, meanwhile, is forced to revisit the burden of her Khan lineage, this time not through war or bloodlines, but as a whispered temptation, a fantasy of rewriting history so that she could live without shame. Christina Chong brings gravitas to a storyline that might have felt heavy-handed in lesser hands. These personal confrontations ground the episode in emotional truth. Even as the visuals spiral into pure fantasy, the heart of Strange New Worlds, the characters, burns bright. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.